Hello teachers, this is your Loom Loop Out for August. I have just a few things and we've got a couple videos for you to watch too in this Loom Loop Out. So I'm using a different format. I hope this works out just because I wanted to clip in some videos. So let's get started. First of all, I want to talk to you about mitigation and quarantining. Okay, so our mitigation strategy should continue. Please encourage, I see lots of you doing the hand sanitizer squirting. Thank you so much. Air filters or fans or doors open is really helpful. Keeping kids distance as much as you can is really helpful too. It's going to be really important that you do that because I hope that you saw the latest email from the district, and according to the Maricopa County, this isn't something that Chandler has decided, but according to the Maricopa County Department of Health, local school districts have to determine close contacts within 6 feet, and they are required to quarantine now. That has not been true, and that's going to be effective as of Wednesday. So you should have received on August 20th an email about that. I'm going to just hold that up to the screen there. Okay, so you should have that. Please read that carefully because here's what that means for you. That means that we will have, if somebody tests positive for COVID in your classroom, we will have more students that have to quarantine and have to be off campus for 10 days. That does mean that you will have to provide work for them. You do not have to do live classroom meets at this time. That is not part of the discussion, but you do have to provide work in Google Classroom. Now, what if your parents say we prefer a hard copy packet? That's fine. You still have to put it in Google Classroom. Okay, so assignments must be put in Google Classroom for quarantine students, and here's why. It is our evidence and our proof. We're kind of living in times where people are questioning everything and coming back, oh, we didn't get anything, and my child didn't have access to learning, and so this is our way legally that we're showing that yes, in fact, we are providing work, so it has to be in Google Classroom. If a parent says we still provide a hard copy packet, we're not even going to look in Google Classroom, that's fine. Put it in Google Classroom to cover yourself, and then you do a hard packet. I'm sorry, I know it's more work, but the moral to this story, please, is do your very best to keep students safe because the quarantining is going to start to feel like a lot of work. Okay, so do your very best to do that. Next topic is just the quality of our work. I know we've got parent-teacher conferences this week. I just want to make sure that you are prepared for your parent-teacher conferences. Think about the quality of your work. Consider your audience. Check something before you submit it, just like you ask your students to do. Check things before you submit it. And the reason why I'm saying this is I've seen a lot of examples of things that, you know, I'm just going to tell you your seating charts, for example. Your seating charts are really important to me right now because of quarantining and all of that. And I'm getting seating charts with only first names. I get it, you go by first names, but then that's an extra step for me to do. So I need to go in Infinite Campus and find out who is Johnny who. Especially if you have more than one Johnny in your classroom, then I'm looking, which Johnny is this? So just please consider your audience. I feel, I mentioned to you in a couple of emails, I feel a tremendous amount of work on me this year, and I know you feel it too. But if we could do something to help each other out, and for me, that is kind of looking at how can you do a job thoroughly enough so that I don't have to, or someone in the office doesn't have to do that. So consider last names when you're writing students' names. Make sure if you're submitting a letter or doing something, make sure it's complete. I'm still seeing things that are not complete, or go back and check this. Forms that are not filled out, or the expectation that someone else is going to fill out an MTSS form for you or something else. We all have to do our own because we're all a little bit overworked right now. So put that under the category of quality of your work. I will do my best to do that, and you do your best to do that. So before you submit something, before you ask somebody something, just check it over, and did you do all that you can do for that? And I would appreciate that. All right, next topic is strong relationships. So I want to ask you to do a little exercise right now. So I'm going to give you a moment to get a blank sheet of paper. Got it? Blank sheet of paper, everybody. Okay, you're going to take that blank sheet of paper and you're going to fold it hamburger way in thirds. So I call this burrito way because it's 1, 2, okay? And then on that, you're going to put students, families, colleagues. Okay? You with me? students, families, colleagues. I want you to think about each week, and I'm doing this myself, what are you doing to promote strong relationships with your students? What are you doing to promote strong relationships with your families and with your colleagues? And maybe each week think of something specific. So I'm just going to jot down, talk to kids in the cafeteria. And that's something I'm going to do this week to promote strong relationships with students. Strong relationships with families. I'm going to, last week I know I made some phone calls. I'm going to post dojo pictures and stories. Okay, I know you've got parent-teacher conferences this week. That's a great way to promote relationships, strong relationships. And then finally with colleagues, maybe it's attend community circle. So that's what I'm going to put, attend community circle. Okay, so I intentionally did this with you just to give you the time to do it. So 3, and then that's just for this week. Then just fold this up, put it somewhere. Next week, take it out and think about that. When we are feeling overworked, when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling whatever it is that we're feeling, the best thing that can remedy any of that is our strong relationships. So please think about, what are you doing to promote strong relationships in those 3 categories? And with students, I know you spend time with them every day, you're teaching them every day, but what are you doing to promote relationships? Do they all know each other's names in the classroom? So you might know all the students' names, but do they know each other's names? Have you taken the time to make sure that you're playing name games with everybody? Do you take time with maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 students to get to know them more? Same thing with families. Are you making some phone calls? Are you, just dropping a line just to say, here's a funny story, here's something funny that your kid did today? It's going to pay dividends. I promise you, it really is. And just along those lines, I want to just remind you about phone calls. Phone calls is the preferred way. If you have a discipline issue, if you have something that you need to talk to a parent about, phone call is preferred. If you say, but my families prefer email, this parent prefers dojo, that's fine. However, just know that I have asked you to make a phone call. Okay, so sometimes just a phone call to say, hey, I'm sending you a dojo message, just take a look at that, or something like that. There's something different about a phone conversation than a dojo message, especially when you have bad news, okay? So please do that, and I promise you I'll support you 100% if you make a phone call and it's a pleasant phone call, and you're doing your best to make it a pleasant phone call. If there's an email that comes across and maybe it could be misconstrued, I have a hard time supporting that. So I just want to say that for strong relationships. All right. Next topic is the HITS. The HITS keep right on coming. HITS stands for High Impact Teaching Strategies. So this year we're going to take time to look at where Marzano and John Hattie agree. So there's 8 strategies that they agree on that are high impact teaching strategies that the research shows that this really, really works. And the first one is our deliberate practice, actually, and it was our deliberate practice last year, and it's identifying critical content. Hattie calls it identifying the goal. Marzano calls it identifying the critical content. So it's not what we're doing today. That's different. It's identifying the goal. So it might be, today we're going to read chapter 3. Okay, that's what we're doing today. That's not the goal. The goal is, after you've read chapter 3 and can carefully identify 3 different settings in the story, then you will be reaching our goal. You see the difference? Okay, so along with that, I have a couple of videos to show you. I promise you they're short, and you're going to check out some videos about identifying critical content in your lessons. I've got the bookends. I've got kindergarten and then 6th grade. Take a look. All right. I want to thank you for taking a look at those and just kind of thinking about, how are you doing that in your classroom? How are you identifying the critical content? Not just in your formal observation, but it should be happening all the time. It should be a real quick. Today I've seen some neat things happening where some teachers have the students repeat today our goal is, and then the students repeat, today our goal is, and then the teacher says it. I've seen some teachers have the kids write it down. I've seen some teachers have students turn to the person next to them and say, by the end of this lesson, I'll know I can because I will. So just things like that. So that's going to be really, really important. All right, guys, one more video for you to watch, and this one I think you'll appreciate it. This one is just some news that's happening in our local community, and I want you to see just kind of how that news goes out, and hopefully we'll share this with our whole community. So it's news that you need to hear. Okay, hang in there. I know you have parent-teacher conferences. I hope you enjoy that. Take time to enjoy getting to know the parents, getting to enjoy appreciating what you have learned about students, but also listening what you can learn, and then also taking the time to show them what you do. This is a really great time to show them that what you do is data driven and that you know what you're doing, and it's a really great time to show off. All right, take care. Have a great week.